goddamn new suit of neighbors. They don't have anything to do anything about.
Welcome to the 30th episode of the Space Limited Accomplishments Interval. My name is Lance Ash, and this sitting beside me is Bonnie Ash.
Hello.
And we are on our way to work. And we just, there's a lot of people at the house over there today.
Yeah.
Must be a party or something.
It's a COVID party.
And we were just discussing my sister's attempts to move from where she's at now to this area roughly.
And why does she want to move, Lance?
Well, I got an email from her today, too late for me to respond to really, saying that she had come down to visit my mother, who lives next door to us, was out to lunch with her, and that if I wanted to come see her, I could, blah, blah. And even if I had been the recipient of the letter of the email in time, I still probably wouldn't have went, because I'd have to wear, oh God, what is that? I thought that was,
Doyle?
well, my cousin Lynette had a Mustang just like that. Anyway, I didn't want to go. I wouldn't have wanted to go down there anyway because I had to wear a mask, and my sister would be like, "What are you wearing a mask for? That's crazy." She's a nurse, by the way. Anyway, so she said that instead of moving into Athens, like was originally the plan, that she'd rather get a place with a lot of land so she could start a farm and have alpacas. And I just don't see that happening. Now, Bonnie and I were discussing her possibly buying my mother's house and moving in next door to us, which I don't really have a problem with.
I think it'd be great.
Yeah, I do too. It'd be fine. I never get to see her, even though we've grown apart. I still would like to.
Completely different philosophies and religious beliefs and everything, but yeah.
Yeah.
But one corner of that property already is plumbed for water, and it has fencing on two sides, and she could create a triangle and just do a fence across that connects those two. I mean, it's ready made, and your mother is senile, and she needs help, and so Catherine would be there.
This is an example of where I was right.
What?
Okay, we have our house, and then there's a little piece of front yard, and then there's our driveway, and that's where my mother's property begins. Well, that's where there used to be a fence. All of that land was fenced in up to where the barn is, and it's kind of in our backyard. And when they ripped that fence up, I thought that's a bad idea. And of course, once again, I am proven right. I just don't. Why did they take that fence up in the first place? And now, if she buys the land and puts in alpacas or elephants or whatever, she's going to have to put that fence back in. It just makes no sense. Oh, Lord.
But it's what, 10 acres? It's more than enough.
No, it's like 6 at the most.
But it's more than enough land.
Oh, yeah. I just don't think she wants a house that big. My mother's house is
enormous.
It's like an airplane hangar.
It's at least 4,500 square feet, at least. And it has a double garage, and a small entry porch, and a covered back porch, and a gazebo, and a creek, and it's just enormous. I can't count how many bedrooms. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. 3 bedrooms and 2.5 baths downstairs, and a full bedroom and bath upstairs, plus potential to expand upstairs.
Yeah, there's there's basically 2 sections to the attic. There's the main attic, and then there's a little other attic that could be turned into a room very easily.
Multiple rooms.
No, just one.
No, the one off the right of the stairs is already used for all of her gift stuff.
Christmas decoration.
And the one to the left.
No, you wouldn't want to turn that. You want to keep your attic space for storage.
No,
if you wanted to, you could turn it into
over the garage.
I just don't think you'd have to do so much work to shore up that floor.
No, not really. It was meant to be completed. They never completed the house.
It's unbelievable. You'd have to have a whole separate heat pump, though, to...
They have 2 heat pumps.
Really?
Yep. One's for upstairs, one's for downstairs.
Well...
I think this would be ideal. I think maybe she's testing the waters and wants you to give her the okay.
Okay, well, if that's what you think, I'll send her the okay, and we'll just see what happens.
Say, why don't you go with Mama? Take that property.
But, I mean, the thing is, I don't know what her job actually is, but I don't see why she would want to move all the way out here as opposed to getting a place in Athens. Which, I mean, she must be pretty certain that she's going to get a job in Athens rather than stay where she's at.
But it's not just here. I mean, now out the opposite direction, St. Mary's has put in a secondary hospital out there, out in Greene County. And there's the Elbert Hospital.
She's not going to go for some rinky-dink side project hospital. She's going to want to go for one of the big ones. And eventually become in executive level. Yeah, exactly. Oh Lord.
Well,
I don't
start spouting her little conspiracies about the vaccine killing more people than COVID, then she probably won't go anywhere.
I'm sure she's smart enough to keep that sort of thing quiet.
She's a highly opinionated, highly strong woman. She's probably not going to keep her mouth closed.
Well, if that's the thing. If she says that to me, there may be other people in the hospital system that are like, "This is a waste of time. Let these people die. The vaccine is a joke," and blah blah blah. I mean, it might be a prevalent opinion.
I don't know. I think that she can have that opinion because she hasn't dealt with the COVID patients directly. She had left the OR and the supervising positions before COVID. She had landed this education job. It's patient education, the idea of post-surgical care and informing the patients what they need to do in order to
what she's into
reduce infection rates post-op.
What she's into right now is
what I just said.
No, what she's into right now is spearheading a program to make the change. She's not. The way you made it sound is like she's directly telling patients, but they're making like a system-wide changeover from medicated post-op to physical therapy post-op. And she's like getting together the program, a presentation to tell everybody this is how we're going to do it. It's one of these, to me, fluff jobs. It's like somebody at the post office putting together something. I don't know how people fall ass backwards into just cushy jobs doing nothing. I don't know. I'd rather have the physical anguish than the mental anguish of having to play politics all the time with people. If you're one of us, you'll eat the same things we eat and go out to lunch with us together. We'll judge you by your shoes and your watch and your car. Okay, the voices are over. So what'd you do this weekend, Bonnie?
Everything. Let's see. Tried to burn down some rubbish that didn't work. Added more fuel to the vegetation pile by trimming trees and trimming shrubs. Went off to the dump, took care of all that. That's always a pain in the ass. Made numerous yummy things, including some blueberry scones, which you have tonight in your thing. You also have some of that mushroom soup I made. I moved some cabinets around. I brought another cabinet in Our daughter was in town very briefly, closing up her apartment here. And so I got an old cabinet she can't use at the new place. Brought it in. I set up my secondary pantry of the overflow larder. It had been on the bookshelves in the back. I framed a picture. I did some photography. I did a lot of cleaning. I got about 6 or 8 bags of stuff together for Goodwill donations, clothes, and then another couple of bags of books and dropped those off. My God.
I was disappointed that we didn't get the laundry painted.
Well, I don't know how I would have had time. I've been in a lot of pain. I feel like I've got a flu. So I'm just kind of existing and coping. Doing that.
Let me ask you something.
Everything else I was doing.
Let me ask you something. When I mock people or do some sort of satirical thing, why is it that my putting on like voices to imitate people or mock them, why does that rub you the wrong way?
Wow.
What is it about it that you don't like?
No comment.
All right. There's an ambulance up there.
I see that.
I don't know why some people get into a job and they immediately want to move up the ladder and do what they have to do to move up the ladder. I mean, I understand wanting to make more money, but it's like, I don't know if it's a need to take on a challenge, or if it's they like more responsibility, or if they like ambition. I don't understand it. I remember when my mother was postmaster of our town, she had basically very little to do, and she even brought a little portable TV to work to watch while she was waiting to run out the clock. And so she got bored of it and wanted more of a challenge and more of this and that. And I just was baffled by that. There are people at work that they want to move up the line, but you're making more money, but at the same time, you're basically taking the job home with you every day. You're forced to come in early, stay over late. I don't understand that.
When the children came of age to start working, I told them a job does not define you. You can choose a job that you enjoy and maybe you want to make it part of you in your life. But just because you have a job, it doesn't mean you are that person unless you choose to be. They were just getting started and had, shit jobs and stuff. And I said it with that in mind, but it's more than that. For a lot of people, a job is a means to an end. It pays the bills. And that's all it needs to be. For other people, it needs to be who they are.
Their identity.
And when you have the ability to be trained in a specific field and then work in that field, you make choices. How much is this going to influence who I am? I think about all the different jobs I had, and I thought that I wanted to be X, and then I thought I wanted to be another thing. And eventually it gets to the point where you change, and whether or not you stay in that profession, it's a matter of the moment. I changed. I changed my whole life. And so it meant that I was no longer what I was trained to do, what I thought I would end up doing. And my job became wife and mother. That was what identified me. Not where I went to work, not how I got paid or anything like that. I decided that what would define me would be what I did at my home. And for me, that home life was fulfilling enough that I didn't have to go out and push those limits. Now, I've had jobs where I would go in and they would go, "You're good. Can you do this too?" And I'm like, okay. And it wasn't a pursuit, it was what came naturally. You're in charge of X. You're in charge of these people. You have these responsibilities. And it got to the point with my last job, I finally said, this job I'm not taking home with me, okay? And that really, there was a line in the sand drawn at that point. And when other people started being advanced in front of me, I said, there's no way I'm going to stay with this. There's just nothing here for me. And I can't take this job home.
Well, okay, I don't know if you had the same, I'm sure you had the same impression that I did about Bob.
Oh,
it just seemed to me that it was all about making more money. Making more money.
Yes.
Well, okay, to what end? Well, because that defines me.
Well,
and I just don't get
Bob
that.
was tied to that religion, that idea of prosperity gospel. And he needed to succeed in order to prove that he was a good Christian. He needed to be a good Christian so he could succeed, etc. It was this horrible circular loop for him. And he also had a father who had set a standard for him that he felt like he had to meet up to. And so his religion said that in order for him to be a good person, to be a good Christian, he had to prosper. He had to earn money. He had to, continually improve his lot in life. Is the positions that he was with. The last time I really spoke to him at length was prior to his marriage. And he had gotten in touch with a headhunter, and he was just, we're negotiating for this, and I'm going to look at this, and blah, blah, blah. This will make me an extra 15 to 30 a year, blah. And I'm like, what about your place in Athens? What about this rental property? I'm gonna go with this, and I'm gonna be able to earn more. And I don't know. He wasn't our type of person. He was really driven.
I don't want to mention any names, but on the opposite end of the spectrum, we have that married couple that we used to hang out with, and they had absolutely no ambition.
None.
They
mooched off of us so much. They were a pain in the ass. They would come over and they would stay for 3, 4, 5
6 hours.
Yes. We would feed them every single time. We would feed them sometimes multiple meals. It was always us entertaining, always us putting out for these people.
I mean, if I wasn't married and didn't have children, I would be a little more inclined to, I'll live in a cave and,
But we had 2 small children.
Right.
And this person that you used to work with suddenly became a friend of yours, and you guys would go out for coffee, and she was fine. She was fine to go out with coffee with, I even jokingly called her your work wife. But when the couple became part of our lives, it was just overwhelming. My God, we spent 9/11 with them.
Well, the thing is,
I went over and fought a forest fire at their house, okay?
Once I knew what I wanted to do with my life, I could just do that and not worry about creature comforts and, air conditioning or whatnot. But when you have kids, it's a different story.
And they had no creature comforts. They had a tree growing through the middle of their house. They kept chickens in the kitchen.
No, in the bathroom.
No, they had them in the kitchen. It was, you keep chickens in the shower? No, we keep them in the kitchen.
I went over there, opened the door, and the room was full of chickens.
It's just insane. And they had no ambition in life. They were ultra progressives, ultra liberals, which I agree with some of the philosophies, but to the point that they would not do certain things because that place had been built upon land that old trees had been growing on. It was over the top.
Yeah, I don't know. My sister and I were close when we were younger. We went through a phase where we changed from a childhood antagonistic relationship, sort of push and pull, to where we were more friendly when we got to be late teenagers. And then all this shit happened, and I became a real rebel, and we grew apart, and then she got married, and she became very much more reactionary. I mean, she was already conservative because of our background, but then she became much more vocal and reactionary about it, and we still are on friendly terms, but I don't know.
Well, I think it was interesting that your sister adopted a certain philosophy in part, but not another part. One of the things that I've oftentimes wondered about her relationship with her husband was she wasn't a traditional wife. And
well, I think she wanted to be in the original early days, but financial circumstances forced her to take the reins.
Her husband's fault.
And then he didn't like that. And but years ago, it was right after I got. It must have been 6 years ago, because it was right after I got the first Prius we had. I drove up to Atlanta to meet my sister and mother for lunch, and my sister saw the Prius, and she made a joke. She said, no need to put an Obama sticker on the back. We already know. Bundling a whole bunch of prejudices and biases and stuff into one little pithy joke.
Now we're on our second Prius, and I was so grateful to find this, because the reality is we do have a very long daily commute, and that, above anything else, makes the decision for us.
It's sad that you get to a situation where every single purchase or item of clothing you wear is a political statement.
Oh my God, that reminds me. Do you remember going to one of their kids' birthday parties up at their house in Marietta? And her husband and his twin brother were going on about, oh, I went down to such and such business, and it's such a godly run place. They have this music on the thing, and it's all Christian music, and it's a good Christian, blah, blah, blah. And we get our discounts and Christian.
Yeah.
Shopping at a fellow Christian's place. It's like, what the fuck? They're selling you cheap-ass furniture you can get at Badcock or anyplace else.
Yeah. I don't know. That whole crowd.
Yeah, his whole family was really... They're part of that mega church.
It was a whole mishmash of religion, capitalism, Republican Party politics, and ambitious crap.
Yeah, mind you, this is the guy whose father used to sneak into football games.
For free.
For free. He would sneak in and get in illegally.
It's my right. All right, we're approaching the end of the show because I don't want it to run over too much. But any final words?
Goodbye.
Okay, goodbye.